Hello, I am Dr. Alan Sumler, and I'm here to talk to you about my book, Cannabis in the Ancient Greek and Roman World. The book is now available in paperback from Lexington Books and can be purchased on Amazon. I hold a PhD in classics and felt that after a lot of the United States embraced medical cannabis and recreational cannabis, that the climate was right to finally tackle the topic of the ancient Greek and Romans and their usage of hemp and cannabis. The book and its topic have been well received in the classics community, the philosophy community, and in the community of ethnobotany. The topic of the book is well needed, and there has never been a book written on this topic specifically. So I'm here to give you a little insight into what the book covers. What I show is that the ancient Greeks and Romans grew and used hemp, which was cannabis. In the earlier, the Bronze Age and the Classical Age of the Greeks and Romans, and in the same time in the parallel cultures of Egypt, Asia, for instance, India and China, hemp and cannabis have been used for a long time. In fact, we find archaeological evidence going back to the 10th millennium before Common Era. So, what is all this excitement about if humans have used it for so long? Well, what we discovered in botany is that hemp, which is a non psychoactive cannabis, used in the production of textiles and papers and rope and clothing, also used in medicine, that the hemp plant and the cannabis plant were not differentiated in the ancient world. They were the same plant. And according to botanists, it was in the Middle Ages of Europe when hemp was farmed in large industrial environment that it lost its psychoactive traits. Other cultures like India, China, Africa, including Egypt, still, of course, grew and embraced psychoactive cannabis. So, leaving the ancient world for half a second, if you go to the time of Napoleon and his conquest of Egypt, you'll find that his historians that were with him writing about his work, about his conquest, were writing about the drugs they were finding. And they noticed that the hemp in Egypt was extremely psychoactive. So psychoactive, I mean that it affects the mind, gives the user the effect of being high. So for sure, Europe had lost its psychoactive cannabis during the Middle Ages. But in the ancient world, hemp and cannabis were the exact same plant, and they still are today. It's not that they were ever different. It just has to do with the traits of the genetics, whether it has um, potency, psychoactive, contains a high amount of THC, or it does not. The hemp plant contains a high amount of CBD and not THC. And these two cannabinoids are, characteristic of the plant, and both um, have effects on the human health. So we see then that the ancients, the Greeks and Romans, used cannabis for textiles and rope, for clothing. They used it for medicine, um, and they used it for religion and for entertainment and leisure. So the mystery was that people thought these references in the ancient world to hemp, in the ancient Greek and Roman world, were referring to hemp seeds, non-psychoactive hemp seeds, and that they were just used in medicine and food Preparation. Well, once you understand that what they mean by seeds is actually the cannabis efflorescence, the bud, the flower, which contains the seed, then you realize that all of these ancient references to hemp are actually references to cannabis bud, to the flower dried. Once I started to look deeply at all these references, I realized, for instance, with Pliny, the Roman uh, writer of natural history, like medicine and farming, he talks about the preparation of cannabis, that is, the harvesting, the drying, and the extracting. So, under the new light that all is cannabis in Greece and Rome, we see that they definitely used every part of the plant, and that you could buy the efflorescence, the dried flower, at the market, and that there was this plant was both grown in the Greek and Roman areas as well as imported from abroad, India, and other trade routes. One of the things my book covers is how prevalent cannabis is in the surrounding cultures of Africa, of India, of China. All right. My book does not get into the American continents, nor does it cover any of the European late, like Middle Ages or Renaissance. But rather, we see we go through all the literature remaining of the Greeks and Romans, and we look for uh, references to cannabis, and we see what can be found. Most of these references that are are so obvious come in medicine, medical texts. The Greek and Romans had a very robust medical system and practice of medicine. So part of my book covers how the ancients looked at medicine and how they viewed drugs and how they viewed psychoactive drugs. Then we get into all the cannabis references throughout medicine. By the way, it was used a lot to relieve anxiety, to relieve grief, and to cure depression. And it has other interesting usages and certain medical usages in terms of human nutrition, because cannabinoids are part of the human uh, uh, system of nutrition and micronutrition. So the ancients used it in many different ways in medicine. And having covered cannabis and Greek and Roman medicine, I then go on to cover interesting references of it in their religion and recreation. And chapter 5 also includes a discussion of other psychoactive drugs like hellebore and henbane, um, and opium and things like this, that can be found in these cultures. The last chapter of my book is very helpful to those who want to continue the research and the findings. The last chapter of my book contains all references, all the passages from the Greek and Roman world that I have access to, that most of the scholarly world has access to, that refer to cannabis. So that's very helpful. I have both the original Greek and Latin there and the translations. So that can help you begin further research, because I think more research needs to be done. So currently I'm working on a continuation of this book. This time it will cover all of the psychoactive drugs in the Greek and Roman world and their views on the usage of these drugs. So my next book will be on intoxication in the ancient Greek and Roman world. So I hope you'll check it out. Feel free to contact me about this book or leave a message or like this video. Thank you for stopping by. And of course, as we say, cannabis can save the world. Good day to you. The end.